You have a minute and a half remaining. Would you like to use that, or just yield? We don't need it.
We don't.
We'll now have the closing remarks from the student side. You have 7 minutes. I'll give you a default warning at a minute and a half, unless you want me to give any other one.
Can you put the warning at 4?
4 minutes remaining, or 4 minutes?
4 minutes. 3 minutes remaining.
Okay.
So, just a couple of points. First of all, I would just like to make one more major point. We as students have been trained. We as students have been trained to learn in a lecture-based environment all of our lives. Basically, from elementary school onwards, and especially in high school, it's all based upon lecture-based learning, so that you will learn how to actually be efficient in university. It's what we're trained to do, and personally, it's what I'm best at. I'm actually I feel like I get a lot out of a class where I go in there, I take a solid amount of notes. The analogy that I use is a sponge. So it's not that the fire hose is just dripping off me, I'm absorbing all of that information. Yeah, like that continuous metaphor. Don't get that in inquiry-based lecture. So possibly inquiry-based learning would work, and it might even be the better pedagogical system, but my argument is we would need to implement it much earlier on in education for it to be at all efficient. It's too late to reteach us now. Most of our synapses are already fused, and sure, the brain's still evolving at 20, but not that much, people. And the effects of alcohol are pretty much balancing that. Just a random aside, but I just want to note that the man in the sweater vest called me elitist, so... Two other sort of quick points. As you've been listening, there's been actually a fair amount of economical arguments going on here, and I think that's because we've got the learned Dr. SCARTH here. And I'd just like you guys to reflect, whose economics was clearer for you to understand? Me and Alex kind of fumbling through it, or the nice, clear definition put forward by Dr. SCARTH? I think his well-argued points are actually proof that what we need is a traditional lecture style class, as opposed to learning from us. Really?
Say that last year.
Fine in your course. We've all been kind of ragging on sessional profs, but I would actually argue being a good sessional prof, being a good inquiry prof is harder than being a good lecture-based professor. If you're not really interested in teaching a student, you can put in some effort, make a series of good lectures, and just reuse those year after year after year, which I've had in a chemistry class. And she clearly hated students. She did not like us. She didn't want to answer any of our questions, was not available. But her lectures were decent, because she'd put in the effort to, think up some good lecture slides, and then she'd been teaching this course for 6 years, so I'd go to lecture and I'd actually learn something. If she was teaching an inquiry-based class, she wouldn't put in the effort to figure out good text that we would need to do. She wouldn't have a dynamic system of seeing what works one year, altering it for each year. No, it requires a lot of work. I'm going to guess that David and Sven here have put in hours more effort into their legal inquiry class than the average tenured professor puts into their lecture. So, that wasn't even intentional. So, it's not actually an easier job, and it won't lead to better professors. It'll just lead to even more polarized classes if you'll have the few professors who do put in the effort and the rest who do what we've said, and will just kind of sit there and be like, all right, students, go ahead. How much time?
3 minutes and 10 seconds.
I'll yield to mine. In summary, sessional professors are not experts in their field. They don't have the experience necessary to tell us what's going on. They don't have a tale as old as time. They're jerked around by the university. Yes, they're cheaper, but I'm still paying the same. So what benefits am I getting out of this? What then? I'll buy my own. I'll save would not. With the increase of inquiry-based classes, class sizes are going to go up. As McMaster has demonstrated, we're going to keep accepting more students until we burst at the seams, apparently. And as to that elitist comment, shall I even address Dr. SCARTH's comments about tenured professors? Getting a really high salary, and how we should just keep them in poverty so that when they are eventually in poverty, it won't be such a shock? No one? Really? Okay. That's fine. How much time is left, Yana? 2 minutes? I would like to yield one of those minutes back to the chair, and the last minute I would like to be spent in silent reflection of all that you have heard today. And I want it to be silent for a minute, because I get to run this show, because it's my time. Just kidding, you only have to stay silent for 25 seconds. And you better be I'm going to kill 10 of these seconds. As a final rebuttal to Dr. Scarth's point. Professors are one of the few jobs that don't have a mandatory retirement age, so they can just keep teaching forever. And with parents who are professors, trust me, I know this for a fact. But that's great, because if they're good, they can just do it forever.
Like Professor Binns in Harry Potter.
I actually like Professor Binns.
Professor Binns, man, in real life.
Has everyone reflected?
No.